So for my second education law assignment, I will be focusing on the Rant option, and we'll be specifically discussing Regulation 274, which dictates the hiring process for Ontario teachers. Right off the bat, I feel as though Regulation 274 is contradictory because Section 2 of the regulation states that any assignment or appointment of a person shall be made with due regard for the provision of the best possible program. I feel as though the regulation and this statement directly oppose each other because we are not guaranteeing the best education for our students if we are hiring based on seniority. Just because someone has been able to wait on the occasional teacher list the longest, it does not mean that they are the best teacher for the job. Were we to have the merit hiring process, the teachers coming in would have the most passion, qualifications, enthusiasm, and knowledge, and as well as generally the most to offer. However, hiring based on seniority does not have that guarantee attached to it. In an article by Brock and Ryan, it is stated that it is of the utmost importance to all stakeholders, such as school boards, that they employ highly qualified and prepared individuals to teach their students. However, with the seniority-based hiring that we have in place in Ontario, I do not think that this statement is necessarily being put into action. I think that when you hire based on seniority, you are not getting necessarily the best teacher or the most knowledgeable teacher or the most passionate teacher, but you are getting the teacher who has been waiting on the list the longest, which really is not a testament to any of their skills, but only a testament to their patience and ability to wait on the roster. I also feel as though Regulation 274 puts students at a particular disadvantage. Now that Ontario has implemented the 16-month consecutive education program, we have a whole bunch of new teachers coming into the system with revamped training, new perspectives, and strong knowledge on issues that affect our students today, such as Indigenous education and mental health. However, these new teachers are a very small minority of the teachers that are actually working in the Ontario education system. I feel as though it is unfair to deprive students of new ideas and new pedagogy that would be extremely beneficial to them, their skill development, their futures, and their overall learning. But instead, we have teachers being hired that have not undergone professional development or new training that reflects the new teacher training program, nor do they have the information that they need about the new elements being implemented into Ontario education and teacher training. And I feel as though this puts students at a disadvantage because were we to hire based on merit, we would have teachers coming in right away that are able to kind of start shifting the Ontario education system towards something more positive, and that are able to implement all these new teachings that we have gotten in the faculty. However, with the seniority-based hiring, we are getting the same teachers who have had the same training for so long and been teaching the same demographic for years, and nothing really is going to start shifting or start changing for several years if we continue using the seniority-based hiring process. And this idea is just reflected in Brock and Ryan as well, as they feel as though the gap between finishing your teacher education program and actually starting to teach is much too large, and that there is not enough resources or professional development going on in those gap years to keep teachers current and to keep them up to date. So in order to have the best teaching possible for our students, we need to be hiring straight out of the new graduate so that we are always having the best and new and most current information available to our students and being implemented into our schools. In the Toronto Star article that we examined in class, titled "Seniority is a Lousy Way to Hire New Teachers," it is suggested that hiring based on seniority is as discriminatory as hiring someone because of race, gender, creed, etc. And this is an argument that I agree with, because teachers are not being interviewed because they are seen as being possibly the best person for the job, but are being interviewed because of superficial and arbitrary details that have really no indication as to whether the person can do their job well. This would be the same as looking at a resume and seeing that someone, or having it clear that someone, for example, was a woman and they wanted a woman for the job, because this does not reflect how well the person could do their job, but only that they have a superficial detail that is appropriate for that hiring process. And hiring based on seniority is pretty much doing the same thing. You're not giving everyone a fair and equal chance, or interviewing those that have the most impressive resume or have the best references, but are instead only interviewing those based on arbitrary detail, and that is they have been able to wait on the list the longest. While Regulation 274 is very hard to work around and is difficult to find a situation that pleases everyone for hiring teachers in Ontario, I definitely think that hiring based on merit is the most fair and the most aligned with Ontario's vision of their education system and their education standards. In this way, we are ensuring that we hire teachers who have been appraised, who are proficient, and we are thus giving the best teachers to our students in our schools. And I think that that is the most important thing for any education system, is to ensure that we are giving our students the best possible education experience that they can have. And hiring based on merit ensures that we have very up-to-date teachers, very current teachers, those with excellent social and personable skills. And hiring based on seniority, again, does not guarantee any of those things. Because nepotism is the root cause for the creation of Regulation 274, and that can be very difficult to overcome with merit-based hiring because it can be a little bit easier to work around, I really actually agree with the Toronto Star's suggestion in their article of having diverse hiring committees with the members being from different walks of educational life, whether that be different schools, different boards, or a mixture of internal and external people on that committee. I think that this would help to combat bias as much as possible, thus getting rid of that whole fear of nepotism that caused Regulation 274. And then we could start to maybe usher in and implement merit-based hiring, which I feel personally is the most effective way of getting the best teachers into the system, and also getting teachers that have just graduated and giving them a chance to use their skills and to use their new findings and their new knowledge. And with merit-based hiring as well, you'll still get a mix of teachers. You can get teachers that graduated from their teacher program 20 years ago. You can get teachers that graduated 2 months ago. You're just hiring based on their references and their experiences, and I personally think that is the best way to hire anyone for any job. And I find it a little bit saddening that almost every other job in Ontario is hired based on merit and based on skills. However, one of the most integral and crucial professions to the success of our province and our country isn't following that same model, and I feel as though this is a huge disservice not only to our teachers, but to our students and to the population as a whole.